Okay, just before this video starts, just want to do a little update on the end of my Vlogmas series. I had a bunch of fun videos planned going through all the way to Christmas. Unfortunately, there is a massive storm hitting the East Coast, particularly in Buffalo and in all of Western New York, which I will be driving back to Buffalo from Rochester this weekend. So yeah, there's going to be like a 35 degree, 40, 50 degree change in temperature, tons of wind, snow, ice, sleet, all that stuff. So I'm going to be traveling back home a little bit earlier than I anticipated, which means I'm going to have to, pack early and travel in early and all that. So not going to be able to film as much. I just filmed a couple of fun videos throwing some discs I've never thrown before. So that's going to be the next couple of videos. I'll do a little challenge tomorrow, and then I'll do a video sort of on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, a little travel vlog, moving with the cats and everything. So that'll be the end of Vlogmas. Sorry I couldn't do some more fun videos to end it off, but it's the best I can do with these weather conditions and everything. In the last video I do for Vlogmas, I'll talk about all the stuff I'm going to do for all my future videos and everything in the channel going into the new year. So look on the lookout for that. I'm really excited for all the things I'm going to do next year. So here's the next Vlogmas. Look out for some fun disc reviews, and I'll see you next time. Welcome to Vlogmas Day 21. Today I have two new discs with me. Well, the same disc, but two of them. It's the Halo Boss. So if you don't know, Halo Boss is basically a faster version of the Destroyer. So instead of a 12.5 minus 1.3, it's a 13.5 minus 1.3. I throw all Destroyers for my distance drivers, just different wares of them. These are Halo Bosses, so they're probably going to be a bit more stable than a normal boss, but in theory, if you throw these at a high speed and then a Destroyer at a high speed, these should go a little bit further because they're a little bit faster. So I haven't thrown these at all ever, or a boss ever, so I'm going to try and test these out. I also have two new Halo Destroyers, the Calvin Heimberg 2022 run, so we're going to test both of them out. One, we're going to see how these fly just on their own, and then compare them to the Calvin Heimberg Destroyers. We're looking at a bit of a headwind here. I'm going to throw a couple shots, so some Hyzers, some flats, some Hyzers, distance shots, all that, see how they fly. So right now I'm just going to throw the bosses and yeah, we're going to see how they fly. Let's take my jacket off. It's actually kind of warm. It's like 35 out right now. Isn't warm, but it's been like 20 degrees out lately. All right, it's definitely very beefy. Gonna have to put a little bit more ante on it to get it to fly flat. Okay, I mean, yeah, it's a fast Destroyer. Definitely beefy. Throwing him not very good right now, but let's throw the Halo Destroyers and just see if they are any different. I mean, they fly pretty similar. The big difference I'm noticing between the Star Destroyer and the Star Boss, Halo Boss, is the rim is just like a lot wider. Or not a lot wider, but wider enough that it's significant for the grip. So I can see why it wouldn't be something with someone like me with smaller hands you might want to throw. I don't notice much of a difference in the speed. I might have to give them a couple more throws and get a feeling for it. These are really beefy, so I'm going to go pick those up and throw them on some sort of Hyzer lines and see how we can flex them. Alright, so gonna throw them on some flex lines. It's gonna start with the bosses and then the Destroyers. Throwing into a pretty decent headwind here, so hopefully that doesn't make it too difficult, although I'm having trouble getting them out to like 400 because the wind is just pushing at me pretty hard. Oh, there's a person walking over there. Alright, that definitely went out past 400. Those go pretty far. Those went pretty far. Let's try the Destroyers now. Yeah, a big difference I noticed between the two of those is the boss wants to fight out really early a lot more, and it actually tends to even go a little further. Like it fights out early and holds flat for a bit longer in the flight, where the Destroyer wants to hold that turnover line a little more and then come back at the end of the flight. So I guess the Boss would be pretty good for something where you need to get a quick turnover and then come back and finish hard left. Where the Destroyer kind of goes out to the right a little bit more. And that might have something to do with that speed difference. So yeah, the Bosses went like a touch further than the Destroyers and had a bit more of a left finish. So kind of basically what I said. The distance wasn't that big of a difference, although I think I was a bit more warmed up when I was throwing the Destroyers, so maybe that's why they went a little bit further. But I think the Bosses do have a bit more distance and a bit more of a hard left finish. Even though these are still beefy, they want to hold that turnover line a bit more. So I'm going to throw them on some Hyzers, and I'll give you my conclusion. Boss first. That just held Hyzer the whole way. Just big meat hook. Yeah, that one rised up a little more. Tried to kind of turn over a little bit. Didn't hold Hyzer the entire way. It was Hyzer, but it kind of tried to stand up. It was going out on that Hyzer, and it kind of tried to come up and then came back. But the Boss just, bang, Hyzer the entire way. I'm going to go pick those up, see how far they went, and then we'll talk about my thoughts on the disc. Yeah, so when I picked those up, they were literally this far from each other. So even though the flight characteristics are a little bit different, they pretty much landed in the same spot. So, I mean, for a big Hyzer, they're basically the same disc. I guess if I had like huge power and wasn't throwing into a headwind, this might go a little further, but they went exactly the same distance, just laterally like a few feet from each other, with this being a little bit more left, as I predicted, or as I said in the flight, it had a bit more Hyzer to it. My conclusion is, if you're looking for a disc to just throw big Hyzers on and have as an overstable disc into the wind, like a day like today, I think either works perfectly fine. It's really just whatever design you like more. If you have bigger hands, maybe go with the Boss because it has a bigger rim. Smaller hands, Destroyer. For big flex shots or straight shots, they do fly a little bit different. I think the Boss is more overstable, can handle some more torque, and if you really just crank on this, it'll really try and fight back with a ton of torque on it, which allows it to get a little bit more distance out of it. So the Boss is better for shots like that, big open golf course type shots where you just got to crank on a big flex or anti-line. That's what the Boss is for. This is going to want to stand up a bit more and have a bit more turn to it. So if you're trying to get something to turn over, something you want to beat in a bit more, I think this is the disc that you want for that. So hope that was helpful. Definitely putting this in my bag. I think it fills a slot a little bit different than this. So I'll try it out for next season a little bit. I'll see you next time. Peace.